You are listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. Amber is a sought-after productivity coach, trainer, speaker, and writer who gives entrepreneurs the straight talk on personal productivity. No BS, fluff, or overused jargon. Just actionable strategies to get results and succeed in business. And here is your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 128. ClickUp, Unveiled, a look at the top app that replaces them all with Zeb Evans. If you're an entrepreneur or business owner who wants actionable solutions to maximize profits, reduce stress, and make time for what matters most, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you joined me. All right, I know you guys hear it probably more often than not how excited I am to bring you this week's episode. Well, this is with absolutely no exception, and the anticipation has kind of been long waiting. Maybe you're a longtime listener of Productivity Straight Talk, and so you've been hearing me talk about this secret magic project management program that I left Trello for. And I was keeping it under wraps for, well, many reasons. One is I was using a beta version, beta 2.0, and it wasn't open to the public yet. With that being said, that actually isn't reason number one. Reason number one is honestly, I have never recommended an app or program specifically before. Now, I do have a tools toolbox that shares with you what myself and my team use, but I have never really came out and said, like, this is a great program or app for your business. And the reason for that is because I am so hesitant because I don't love the conversation that goes hand in hand with, oh, you're the productivity specialist. So what app do you use to be more productive? What program do you use to be more productive? And because I'm so against that conversation, because then I have to, of course, as you know, explain to them that that's not productivity and all that good stuff. And yes, a program or app can help us, but it's not the same as being productive. And sometimes I just rather not have those conversations. So I have stayed clear of maybe, in my opinion, muddying the waters. But here's the deal. The second reason truly that I was holding back to is because not to unveil ClickUp, but just in general, like ever recommending a program or app, is because I believe it's such a unique experience. You can literally have raving fans and then someone else will get on the program and they're like, that's horrible. Like, it doesn't work for me. I can't see things that way. And I know that to be true because I'm actually in and out of so many different people's businesses and back ends and operations that I am clear as day. Like, I could have one client that absolutely loves a particular CRM and then another client that hates it. And so that's why I've also never wanted to draw the line. Like, I only back this program or that program. But here's where we're at. I'm really excited to bring this episode to you because you're going to meet our guest, Zeb Evans. Zeb Evans is a serial entrepreneur that started several software companies with over $100 million in revenue. Currently, he's the founder and CEO at ClickUp, a productivity platform where people plan their work. Now, Zeb is coming on here because I stumbled upon ClickUp by a referral from someone else. It wasn't even like I was seeking out a new project management program. And once I got into it, I was like, this is crazy amazing. And you'll hear why I think it's really good and why it works. But really what I want you to hear is that I think it works really well because it's so versatile to the different ways people process information and want to see information. And because of that, I don't think that it's going to be the case where people like absolutely love it or absolutely hate it because they can't see the information and data or projects in a way that makes sense to them because it's so customizable. So that was the first thing that really, really caught my attention. And then once I started delving into not just what the program can do today, but where it's going, I have been over the moon about it, which then takes me to full circle about what I actually said in the first place, which is it's been in beta 2.0. So they were running 1.0. When I found the program and reached out to them, they're like, we're running beta 2.0. Would you like to have access to that? And I'm like, yes, of course. And so what was going to happen is if I shared this program with you, you would be coming in at 1.0. I would be at 2.0 talking about all these amazing features and things that I'm using, and you don't have access to it. So as it happens, it was a longer journey than they had expected or I had expected. So I didn't intend on teasing this that long, but I can tell you the wait is worth it. And this interview with Zeb was honestly, I had never met him or spoken to him ever before the 2 minutes we hit record. I'll let you decide what you hear for yourself. But for me, I really, really connected with him and what his mission is. And when I was done, I was even more in love with the program after hearing about what they're up to, where they're going, why it was created, and the story behind ClickUp. So here's what you're going to discover when listening in on my conversation with Zeb. Where ClickUp is going in the marketplace, what makes their project management software unique, what new features they're doubling down on, my personal favorite ClickUp hack, why Zeb chooses to only sleep 4 hours a night. Yes, you heard that right. And we totally stumbled upon that one. And so much more. Now, here's the deal. I actually have been working with their team, which is incredible. And we have a special offer for you. But at the time of this recording the intro to hit my deadlines, I don't have the finalized unique promo code. So here's what I want you to do. I will share with you at the end of this episode about what is available to you as a promotion to try ClickUp. And then if you love it and you will, and you decide to join, what that looks like. But I'm literally recording this right now, and I'm hoping to have it in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So I will be sharing it when I re-record the outro. And I know that if you are not using a project management program, or you are and you're not 100% happy with it, then you're going to want to check this out. So stay tuned for that URL, link, and promo code. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I do just want to remind you that we are starting the pop-up training Time Management Made Simple this week. So this episode goes live Monday. We are starting the program November 1st, which is Friday. And to be honest with you, cart closes tonight. So I hope you hit play, and I hope you listen to this episode on Monday. This is your final reminder to get in and join us. If you want more information about what will actually be covered and the dates and the times and how to access it, head on over to theproductivityspecialist.com/time made simple. In the program, just as a recap, we are going to be covering how to capture, organize, and execute tasks, task list management, creating your ideal week, adding tasks to your calendar, auditing your time, daily reviews, weekly reviews, and so much more. We are going to get your time management processes and systems put into place over 4 weeks. The entire program has 6 weeks of support as we are creating a pop-up Facebook group for only members of this program. And so it's going to be very intimate, and it's going to be a lot of support, right? Ask a question, I'll be there. And I think that the 6-week sprint is exactly what you need. And it's exactly at the right time to hit the ground running in 2020. And I am bringing it to you at a crazy low, this has got to be the quickest yes you ever made price, which is $197. And what this means is this is the lowest price offer that I have available right now that you get access to me in a live training. Okay. So I'm showing up live every Friday training you, and it's going to be you and a few of your friends and me for $197, 6 weeks of support, 4 weeks of training that will literally transform your time management. So head on over to theproductivityspecialist.com/time made simple, and I will see you in there. And now let's get to the straight talk. Welcome to Productivity Straight Talk, Zeb. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I am doing great. I got to tell you, this episode's been a long time in the making. And by the time my listeners hear this, they're going to be like, that's what she's been talking about. ClickUp. Okay. So thank you so much for being here today. I wanted to talk to you about your project management program and get some behind the scenes of Why did you create it? What problem were you going to solve with ClickUp? But before we jump into that, who are you? Who is Zeb, if we got to get to know you a bit outside of ClickUp?
Great question. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. So I was that kid, 3 or 4 years old, selling things, right? Buying things, selling things. That's been my passion. Every year of my life, I've had something that I was selling or doing or creating as a business. So, this kind of will bridge our gap into how ClickUp started. But I've always had some type of gig going on.
I love that. And so was there a gig going on where there was a problem that had to be solved and you were like, there's got to be something better out there for project management, task management?
Yeah, pretty much. So I first stumbled across project management with Basecamp. And when I found it, I felt it was incredible. Right? This is I can organize all of my thoughts into this program. That was several years ago, obviously. And I was working at my previous company before. And as we scaled, Basecamp was not scalable. So we did the natural thing for and kind of technology-focused companies to move more into Jira. And I hated Jira, right? I absolutely hated it. I thought it was a nightmare from a user experience perspective. And then you siloed off engineering from the rest of your company. So long story short, I tried everything else. And I just could not get around everybody having to use different tools in our company. I didn't want Asana and Trello and Jira and Todoist for your personal stuff and Confluence for note taking. So ClickUp, the idea really started at that company, and I started working on it with just a couple engineers to create an internal tool for ourselves. We actually just spent about a month on it, and some other more urgent matters took us away, so it didn't get finished at that company. And I ended up, flash forward, I exited that company, wanted to move out to San Francisco to start a completely different company. It was actually going to be a Craigslist competitor where you could pay in-app and remove the sketchiness from Craigslist. But before we started, I wanted to finish ClickUp. And so I said, hey, let's just take a month or 2 months and let's just finish what we started. So we got into it, and long story short, there was a lot more to do in just a month. And we also had started sharing it with just people in Palo Alto and that area, and it started growing on its own. So ultimately, we made the decision that this is the next thing to do.
Okay, there's so many great questions there. Was it ClickUp the whole time? I've named a few things in my past, and the names don't always come right at the beginning. So what was it called when you first were working on it?
Yeah, believe it or not, it was ClickUp.
Wow.
So the story behind the actual name ClickUp, it did start as a different product before. That never actually was conceived. I had a social media company before this, and the ClickUp product really was about clicks. So we used that name for a kind of as a code name for our project management application that we were building. So, now we tell people it's about saving you clicks for the name ClickUp, but the reality is it actually was just kind of a code name for a different project.
Okay. So I know in the intro, I will share my own experience with ClickUp and why I have chosen to move my business specifically to ClickUp. But in your own words, what would you say ClickUp is doing for your customers now? Like, what problem is it solving?
The first version of our product was the vision was replacing all of your project management software. So consolidating those into one tool with a great user experience and the little things that matter, right? At the time, you may remember you weren't able to pasting images inside a comment was not possible a year and a half ago, kind of when we got into this. Now it's kind of the status quo, but those little things mattered a lot to me. It's all about the efficiency at the end of the day, saving people time. That's our mission, is making people more productive. And to do that, we've got to think about the small things. So that stuff didn't really exist back then, which is to answer your question, a big reason that we wanted to build ClickUp was to solve that and save time. The second version of our product, which we publicly released last week and pulled the beta tag off of, is just taking it a step further. So it's all of your projects in one place, but also your notes and docs and spreadsheets and your chat and timeline and road mapping, all of your productivity in one place.
Yes. So here's the deal. I am a big believer that when we are being our most productive selves, it's when we're showing up our authentic selves, right? Like, so what that means is just because all your friends love Trello and then you get into Trello and it doesn't work for you, your mind doesn't work that way. You're like, cards, what? Lists? Like, I can't even think that way, right? And then you go, or you're like, well, maybe Asana is it. And people are jumping around from program to program. Why I personally, me, and why I've backed it with all my one-on-one clients on ClickUp is because this program literally lets you create any view, see the information any way that makes sense to you. And so now the question is, well, what makes sense to you? Like when I'm doing this type of work, do I want to see it in cards and lists? Do I want to see it in, checklists? Do I want to see it in a Gantt chart? And so the program for me was, to me, a big missing piece in the market of people being able to do work the way that they do their best work and having it so versatile that you can actually have different personalities or the way that people work on your team. Everybody sees it different, but it's all pulling from the same information, right? And so for me, that was the initial like, ooh, this is really cool because I was tired of being a productivity coach and, someone's always saying, well, what app do you recommend or this or that? You have to go through like 10 questions. Well, how do you like to see your information? What kind of projects are you working on? And for me, ClickUp really solved that. It was a matter of now, like, well, how are you going to set it up that works best for you?
Yeah, that's exactly, you kind of nailed it. And our original vision is being able to work on anything with anyone. And at the time, this was a very novel idea and a naive idea that we were told because it was more of a segmented, fragmented market, and building something for everyone isn't always the right decision, and especially from the outside, it's not something that's normally done. But that's really our original vision was being able to use this for anything. So a great, to speak to your point, a great use case that we see over and over and over again is companies, organizations, or teams coming to us and being able to work without silos. So you've got engineering in one space in ClickUp, which to people who are unfamiliar is like a separation of ClickUp, really, that's all separated at a high level spaces. And so you can have an engineering space, but you can also have something simple like a content space or a marketing space. And you can really finally have everybody working in one platform.
Yeah, for me as a small business owner, and many of my clients are small business owners, so think about 10, 15 employees and under, there's still someone that is overseeing the projects and the work, right? And so when you do have, different people working from different lists or different boards when it was in Trello or this or that, the person that's managing all of that work and like flow that's very overwhelming if they can't curate that into their own list. Right. Mm-hmm. And so with ClickUp, the ability has been for me, and what I've seen is that now you just create your own view and your own list and your own filters, and then bam, you're seeing things from everywhere because that's the work that you're doing in that moment, which is making sure everything's moving forward, or being able to go down to the specific list. Again, we're throwing words out. If you're not in ClickUp, you will be. But this would make sense is that you can get as specific or as broad, but it's very customizable.
Exactly.
So for me, also, I don't specialize in one industry of serving productivity because I believe that how we show up as owners and CEOs, it's a very personal experience, right? And so it's not specific to one industry. I rolled ClickUp out to my one-on-one clients. And what that meant was I was able to watch them go through it in beta, an attorney, an interior designer, a real estate agent, like across different industries. And I don't think that that is as common either, that it's so intuitive and can be customized for the interior designer that wants to see a Gantt view of their entire project, or, the realtor that wants to see all their transactions and where every transaction's at, or, their office manager. And this program was able to do that. And so I just want to say thank you for the vision, because I think that as a business owner, you probably have been told that was a bad idea, or this would be a really hard road, or maybe people didn't see it, but you stuck it out. And I'm guessing I've been hearing the word ClickUp everywhere now. So it's really catching on, right?
It is. And first of all, you're welcome. I'm very glad to hear that. I really am, that it's resonating with people. And I will say it has been a lot easier than I thought to break into this industry. It's very highly competitive. But again, to your point, I think people were looking for a different solution, kind of somebody that was really thinking differently and coming into here with that approach. Fortunately, we've kind of touched on the convergence of tools that's happening. We were really right place, right time for this. And then, you look at other tools on this convergence theory, where you're bringing multiple applications together. And I think we're really set up for the future in the way that we've built the foundation.
I do. So I don't want this to be just like an all ClickUp is the most amazing thing ever, but it kind of is. Here's the deal. I got into beta right when you guys started 2.0 beta, right? And so I never learned 1.0. As soon as I reached out, told them who I was, they're like, hey, you want to give this a shot? And what I loved was that you guys are like in real time taking feedback. Like you have an entire process of getting feedback from the user. What are the requests? And then you guys are completely transparent. Like every week I get a list of like, here's all the requests that people have made and here's what we're doing about it. And from a user experience, feeling like, well, I felt like I was a part of, putting in my input and getting immediate responses. I think that is something that made me a huge fan as well as you guys are growing. So
yeah, the absolute most important thing to us is the people that use our product. So I'm up late at night, always listening to what people are saying. I read lots of tickets every day randomly. I'll just kind of jump in and just see what people are saying. I have a bird's eye view on all of our feedback, and I try to consolidate that into like one vision for a week. And touching on what you were saying is we ship, or at least try to ship, a new version of ClickUp every single week. Even if it's a little update, we try to get something out. We certainly will always listen to people, and we'll never stop, innovating the product. I think that's what you run into with a lot of our like monolithic competitors. They're better now. Honestly, they're better now. And I think people have told us, that we've kind of brought that breath of fresh air to the industry, where people have started innovating again. Asana in particular, they're certainly adopting lots of the principles that we've had from the beginning. But the reality is we'll always be, a year or 6 months ahead, at least in the product that I'm envisioning. So I think we'll always have a good differentiation compared to our other products that are available.
Yeah. So I would love to hear a little bit more of the story. So how long has ClickUp been in this version, not beta, but I mean like that you decided I'm not doing the Craigslist, project or alternative, like that this was it. How long has that been since today?
About 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was about 2 years ago. A year and a half ago, we launched ClickUp like publicly without a beta tag, ClickUp 1.0.
Okay. And can we get any sneak peeks? Like, what's the big vision? Not week by week, but like, where do you see ClickUp going, and what do you want to do with ClickUp in the marketplace?
The foundation is there for our vision, and it's again goes back to this consolidation of tools that's happening. But the reality is, for the next 6 months, we've got a lot of features that were more of like a minimum product that we could create just to get it out fast. So we're doubling down on lots of things. We'll kind of, really kind of finish the vision for certain individual features like docs and goals, and make them more comprehensive in our platform and make them more connected also. So that's part of this. But the other side that we're working on right now is automation and lots of integrations, lots of native integrations. So, next year we want to have 300 native integrations. So we just hired a brand new integrations team that's solely focused on integrating and automating workflows. Not to give too much away, we're kind of building a Zapier-like thing inside of ClickUp, where you can connect all of your applications and you can connect anything in ClickUp. We're also opening up the platform to something that's along the lines of Slack, where you can create integrations that are like similar to what you would have in Slack. And then we're also, from our notification side, notifications is one thing I always view as it's such a disconnected and fragmented thing. You have notifications from everywhere coming in. Our long-term vision for notifications is have all of your notifications in one place. And, I think our notifications are okay right now, but our next kind of vision for this is really taking it a step further and making it this very mindful experience with notifications, where you can truly customize exactly like we're only going to show you the important things, and then when you're ready for everything else, you can tell us, hey, I want to see everything else. But we're really presenting it to you in a much easier and much more prioritized format. And we're taking
I freaking love that. Okay, so I got to tell you, the first thing I did, and the first thing I tell every client that is beta in ClickUp, I'm like, get in there and shut off all those notifications. Like, it's productivity 101, right? Because they are coming in from everywhere. And then I actually hacked it myself and created a list view just to show me what's moved and new in comments, because I wanted to do it on my terms, not like when it's like coming in from everywhere. So I love that you are seeing something bigger for the notifications part as well.
The piece we see that's really ripe for picking is the conversations part of notifications. So talking to people. We have, at the time, what we built was the only project management where you had real-time collaboration, where when you're on the task with somebody else, you can see who else is viewing the task, and you can also see when they're typing in real time. And so we're kind of doubling down on that and making it more of like a conversational piece to notifications, more of like a Slack, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. And so anyone that's listening right now, I do think it's worth saying that what I have personally experienced is that you can use all the bells and whistles, or you can use a portion of it. And whatever level you're at or whatever need you are, it kind of meets you where you're at. And I think with a lot of other programs, as robust and as many options and features as ClickUp is it's an all or nothing. And that can be extremely overwhelming for the non-techie or a team of two, where they're like, I don't need something that big. But this really lets you use like what parts make sense for your business and your workflow, or all the way up to managing large teams.
Exactly. There's a lot of stuff under the hood, and we try to purposely keep a lot of it under the hood. So when you sign up for ClickUp, you really may not see everything that it can do, and that's our job to help you understand that. But you hit the point exactly. Is we want you to be able to work on this as a solo entrepreneur and also as a large enterprise with thousands of employees. We literally have families working in ClickUp for chores and taking out the trash, and then we have people building rockets in ClickUp. So it's an entirely agnostic to any type of vertical or use case. And exactly how you said, we hope that you can come in here as a business owner or project manager and start with a few people and expand as your business grows, and you'll still never have to worry about switching to a different platform.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Why don't you share with us about your team? So it's not just you, right? So where are you at currently with your team?
Yeah, we've got about 50 people. We just opened this week our new headquarters in San Diego. We were in San Francisco for a while, so I'm down here in San Diego now, loving the sun. We've got about, from a product side, which encompasses, let's say, engineering and design, that's about half of the company, so about 20, 25 people. And then the rest of the company is generally customer success. And, to scale up, we're kind of in that phase right now, of that hyper growth phase and hyper hiring phase. So that's what we're here in San Diego to do, is scale up the rest of the company.
And what is the goal? Where do you see yourself with hiring in the next year or so?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll be at about 100 people in 3 to 4 months. So roughly doubling in about 3 to 4 months. And so, to do that, it's going to be expanding on doubling down on customer success. I'm a huge believer in customer service. That's always been my number one. That's our number one core value, is providing exceptional customer service, the best experience they've had in our industry. And I hope we've done that. We certainly can do better. I want our response times down under 10 minutes. We're slammed right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're hiring people in different areas or different locations. We are also having more of a success part of this, where we call them productivity coaches, where you'll be able to ask for help from people and kind of get our vision of how you should use ClickUp.
No way! That is going to be cool. Okay, you got to tell me more about that.
Yeah, so we've got kind of 5 coaches right now in the very the very early stage of this. So it's a work in progress, but these people ideally are going to be trained in certain segments. So let's say more of a small business segment or more of like the design creative side. So you as a business owner will say, hey, I need help in setting up ClickUp for creative agencies, and ideally we'll give you the best setup possible for what we see where you're at. So that all hopefully will. I want to keep this all a free service, right? So we're always about making people more productive, and you go to these other companies and they charge you so much for support, and right now unfortunately we have to say no to a lot of people that ask for kind of custom setup. So we want to be able to say yes to people when they're asking for assistance.
No, that makes total sense, because I know that you guys are also probably dealing with the not just the dollars and cents cost of switching to a program, but really it's the flow, right? So a business is looking at pulling from another project management, restarting in this one. And one of the first questions is, what is the flow? What is an efficient workflow? Like, how do I set that up? Do I want to use subtasks? Do I want to use lists? Do I want to have everyone have a different view? And so I get that. That's so powerful that you guys are looking at productivity coaches. So with my one-on-one clients, I've done little pod trainings in each industry. So like I pulled my interior designers and did a little this is what you need to know in ClickUp. But what I literally told them was, the support and the how-tos are there. Do not ask me those questions. What we're going to talk about is what is a workflow? How should your team be communicating in ClickUp? More strategic. And that sounds like I'd be more than happy to hand that over to your team, to your productivity coaches.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We also have to look at, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, people that haven't used project management software versus has used it, it's a completely different mindset. So the people that have used project management software before generally find, it's very easy to onboard and ClickUp and get things set up. But on the other side, people that haven't used it before, they're coming in with, a fresh mind. They don't know terminology or the nomenclature. So yeah, we want to be there to assist those people.
Okay. And so are you saying that is in the works right now, or it's going to be something you're doing? I might have got excited and missed
it. It is
that
in
part.
the works. It is in the works right now. Yeah. So we've got a big initiative for expanding the success side of the company, which is the coaches, but also customer service and our phone support, expanding all of this. I've learned a lot of lessons in my previous companies about not to grow headcount too fast, and so we've taken that to this company. But we are growing, extremely fast month over month. So we've really got to scale the team out, and that's also why we kind of stepped out of San Francisco. To be clear, we still have that office there, but as far as scaling out, we're kind of doing that outside of San Francisco in order to do it faster.
Right. Okay. So my audience, I often highlight entrepreneurs and business owners from all different industries. And so while we've talked a lot about ClickUp, I want to know you as the CEO, right? So what is a day in the life of you? You mentioned a little bit that you're, looking in on work orders and things like that, but what is a day in the life right now with a company that's growing so fast, with you holding the palm of the hand, the vision of the company, and bringing 100 people under that same vision and providing extreme high level of customer service? So what is that? How does that break down for a day to day for you?
I'm a firefighter, right? It's all about fighting these fires that come in every single day and finding a solution for them. That's the way that I look at my job, is more of a problem solver for the most part. If you want to take it granularly, during the day, I am, CEO. I'm that person that's solving the problems. At nights, I'm the product person. I'm working on the product. I'm creating this product. For the 2 years, I've been the only product person at our company. So I've done a lot of design. I've done a lot of wireframing, but it's all been kind of my vision. We of course now have designers, and we actually just hired. I'm giving the reins over to somebody for product management, and an exceptional person. So I'm handing some of that over to scale. I've kind of got to be more in that growth mindset and putting all of the pieces together. So to answer your question, I'm transitioning now to really more of the CEO role rather than the product role. Our focus has always just been the product, product. You create a great product and everything works out from there, and it has. But at a certain point, to handle everything that's coming in, I really have to take a step back and be the bigger vision.
Yes. So if you don't mind me asking, was it like someone came across your path where you were like, that is a perfect fit for that role? Or were you like, I can't do both any longer. I'm burning, burning the midnight oil too much and I need to find that person?
So it's a little bit of both, and it's actually a good story. I had been hiring this role for 2 or 3 months, and I went through hundreds of applications. And I just, I couldn't find anybody great, right? Anybody really exceptional. Product manager is such a subjective role. And some companies you're in there and you're just doing user research and user studies. Ours is really more of a product visionary is kind of what I'm looking for to work alongside me. And that was hard to find. So I was frustrated, and I kind of woke up one night and I was like, holy shit. I don't know if I can say shit, by the way.
Absolutely.
A light bulb.
100%. Now we know Zeb has not listened to my episodes of Productivity Straight Talk. The cat's out of the bag. Okay, go ahead. Holy shit.
Great. We're on the same page there. Yeah. A light bulb went off, and I was like, there's a couple really good users that we've had that have given me exceptional, awesome feedback and even designs and wireframes. So I reached out to one of them, and I knew that he had his own company already. But I reached out to him. I was like, hey, no pressure, but if you ever, looking for a change, and he kind of shot me an email back that day, and I was like, yeah, actually, let's talk. So he's starting on Monday.
Oh my goodness. Okay. That is a great story. I'm so glad I asked that question. Okay. So you literally woke up and were like, that person that has already kind of been supporting you for free, giving you like, this is it. Okay. That's awesome. All right. So, Monday's going to be a big day for you.
It's a huge day.
Yeah, you're going to be handing over that hat of, transition, I'm sure, but you'll be handing it over. And so if you are not filling your nights with that role, what will you be doing? Are you going to be more visionary during the day, firefighting at night? Or honestly, I know we don't know each other, and I almost always have people on the podcast that I know very well. So I'm just going to shoot for maybe you don't work at night. That's an option, right?
That is not. I work all the time, right? I only sleep 4 hours.
Hold on. Is that because you seriously only need 4 hours? Are you like that small percentage of people that only need 4 hours?
Well, believe it or not, I have narcolepsy, and I had slept so long my entire life. I was that 12-hour sleeper, and it just wasn't sustainable. And this is a ridiculous story. I'm not one of those Tony Robbins gurus, but I went to a Tony Robbins conference through a friend of mine. I was just like, all right, screw it. I'll come one time. And I learned that he had only sleeps 4 hours a night. And I tried it, and it worked really well. It kind of cured my narcolepsy. It sounds so ridiculous, but for me, sleeping less is sleeping more. For those 4 hours, I'm just not groggy in the morning. I wake up right on top of it. I'm very much so in that routine of sleeping that amount. And so for me, it works really well. What I say is not everybody's the same, right? Not everybody's the same. So you kind of have to just try different things and see what works. Fortunately for me, being able to sleep less is great for my work, right? Because I can still work, around the clock, and I will always be working around. I'm just that person, right? I'm always going to be doing something. And to be clear about the product, I still will be involved in it. Yeah. Absolutely. That's still going to be a huge
It's your baby. I know.
It's my baby. It's my baby. So it's going to be a huge part of my day regardless. It's just now, we'll be able to make the little things a lot better. There's certain things that just, I know are disconnected in ClickUp. I know that could use some usability improvements, some user research, talking to people. So this will, really aid us in that.
Okay. All right, Zeb. So we've known each other for 35 minutes. Our listeners have listened in on this whole time. And what you don't know is that everything I stand for, 125 episodes of productivity is unique for each of us. And it is our one job to figure out how we show up best in our lives. And the fact that you just dropped a bomb that you used to sleep a ton and then stumbled upon the fact that you need 4 hours and that you are doing your best work that way might be the biggest value bomb you dropped in this whole episode. And I love it because people need to hear that there's so many different ways and to have given themselves permission. I have just closed the cart on a program called Leverage Lab. And the reason I chose lab is because I believe it's our job to experiment with all the ways that we show up our best and do our best work with it, which is what I call productivity. So love that you experimented with it. You went kicking and screaming to the what I don't even know what it was, the training with Tony Robbins, and came out with a hell of a lot more hours a day to do your dream, right? And to make this company.
Yeah. For me, and again, it's different for everybody, but for me and for us, for our company, it's all about urgency. That's like our kind of focus, is being urgent with everything. So we try to do everything as efficiently and as quickly as possible. We give people pretty good autonomy in making decisions. But the other side of this is we want you to do what's good for you, right? So that's different for everybody. But for us right now, especially, I like the competition in this industry. It drives me. It really does. It drives me. And so it's something I wake up for, and I'm excited to do, and I love what I'm doing.
Excellent. So can we talk a little bit about your team? So are they all under the same rooftop, or are they virtual?
Yep. So about, let's say 20 are in San Francisco, another 15 or so are remote. And then we've got 15 people here now in San Diego. Then we've got another 15 starting next week, and then 10 starting that next week after that. So we're growing fast here, and we are hiring in San Diego.
Okay. Yeah, right. They'll be knocking on your door like, how do I work for this company? And so I guess you have a great right-hand person for HR that's onboarding them and finding all your people, or is that another hat that you're also wearing?
Yeah, we've got exceptional people here. Except there's a few leaders in our company right now, so it's not a big leadership team, but each of our couple core people are each exceptional at what they do, and truly could not do this without them.
Excellent. Now, have you, let's take this back 5-7 years. Did you envision yourself being the CEO of 100 employees and running a company like this? Was this something that you'd always foreseen and it just worked out, or?
No, I envision myself CEO as 1,000 employees by now.
Okay. I'll give you another year, okay?
Yeah. So I did. Ever since I was 5 years old, that was people ask my whole life, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, CEO. So I started college at business, and I just didn't really align with what I was being taught. Business for me is more learning by doing rather than being taught. So I dropped out of college after a year, and kind of found that I just found my passion again. My passion wasn't learning from other people. It was learning by doing.
Yes.
And that's where we are today.
Okay. So I didn't drop out, but I have learned X, but I can't even tell you how much I've learned in the last 7 years of business that I never learned with a degree in business. Mm-hmm. So I actually wasted the other 3 years that you didn't waste. You learned real fast to jump out. But I think back about that as I have a 9-year-old son and his college is paid for. And I'm like, chances are he's not going to use it. I hate to say that, but he may very well not use it. There are times where it definitely is there's a need and a place. And if he wants to, it's there for him. But with the world changing the way that it is, and the ability for us to find education and support in so many other ways than just the classroom, it really excites me. I wish I had learned as much in my 4 years of college as I have in just the first few years of being in business.
It all comes down to, as a society, we need to be okay with people not going to college. It's that pressure, that external pressure that you're put on you, where in some cases you kind of see, oh, I'm going to be a failure if I don't go to college, right? But that's just not the case anymore. Our company, as well as many other tech companies, we don't look at college degrees. We really don't. I could care less what degree you have. So it certainly shows a great aptitude for people, and it that can help in some sense. But at the end of the day, we will care more about who you are and what you've done in life or what you want to do, rather than what an institution taught you. And to be clear, there's a time and place for it, for sure.
Absolutely.
It can be great, especially if you're going to be a lawyer or a doctor, it needs to be there, right?
Absolutely.
It's just where we've kind of created this umbrella of school where, everything you want to do, you need to go to 4 years of school for it. Just, in my opinion, isn't the best way to do things.
Right. So again, my son is 9, and when I would go to like parent teacher conferences and they would want to talk about his grades and is he reading and all this stuff, like, I'm like, he's good. Is he a good friend? That's what I would always ask. It would always catch the teacher like sideways. And I'm like, no, that's my way of asking. Like, can he talk to people? Is he being nice to people? Can he relate to other kids? Like, to me, those are the skill sets that will show up for the rest of our lives in business, whether he does entrepreneurship or whatever it is. He could be, and he's very smart. So he can be very smart, but if he cannot articulate that to others, it's really for naught. And so that's why I always put a big on who we are. And so it's good to hear you're hiring for who we are and not just our credentials, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
And I have made those mistakes in the past, right? We have hired, not to hamper on this too much, but you hire the great degrees, the great, the Harvards of the world. And at the end of the day, they may be great, and they are many times, but you put them on, at least, lots of times, I think people with a pedigree see themselves on that pedestal, and it just doesn't flow with the rest of the company, right? It just really doesn't work well in practicality. So yeah, I mean, that's why we're just kind of completely non-biased to where you come from.
Yeah. I love this conversation because I talk a lot about mindset and what holds us back as business owners. And when we're holding ourselves back, it affects our business growth. And if we have a belief that we need to hide that we did not go to college, or that we should have gone to college, or whatever those stories are, sometimes they just need to hear this conversation to know that, what, there's a different path. And again, it's just about owning who you are and doing your best. And if you provide that high level of service to your client, I got to be honest, I can't think of one time I've ever been asked about my college degree. Mm-hmm. In all the speaking and all the things that I've ever done, I don't think I've ever really been asked. So anyways, there's more than one path to everything that we do, right?
Absolutely. It's all about finding your path and changing it. I think that's kind of the problem that we put people on, is this one path. You choose the path and then you've got to stick with it. But the reality is you got to try many paths to figure out which one you align with the most.
Okay. So I'm going to be really honest. This might get cut out, but I'm going to go for the ask. So it sounded like you've owned a few other companies, and at some point you had to say, this wasn't working. It's not my path. It's not what you wanted to double down on. Would you share with us some of the thinking or mindset that allowed you to say no to those things so that you could say yes to this and now really have the success that you're currently having? Like, this would not have been possible if you would have been stuck in something that wasn't working. Right?
Yeah. No, a great question. Yeah. I spent 4 years at my most previous company to this one. And, by all outside measures, that one was a success. Before, I certainly had many failures, but, it was very profitable and still makes money today. So for me, it wasn't really about that. It was about doing something a lot bigger, right? A lot more scalable. Not to be cliche, but I want to change the world. I've always I always had that inside of me. I've had a few very near-death experiences in life, and each time I look at it and I change. After that, I'm a completely different person after you have a near-death experience, and I have this urgency and this clarity to what I want to do. And we want to change the world. We really do. We give back a lot, and I don't want to over broadcast that, but that's it affords us to be able to do that and kind of have this net karma benefit to the world.
I'm so thankful that you shared that. And I kind of asked for my own, it's not just the listeners, but I think we all have times in our businesses where we're like, what is going on? Like, can I make that big, hard decision so that it's a different path that we can't even see for ourselves? Like, I mean, I'm assuming you took a leap. You started this not even knowing you were starting it. You were looking to finish a project that was servicing you until you realized you could change the world with it. And so thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely. Happy to.
All right. So we became fast friends in 45 minutes. What did I not ask you about ClickUp? Is there anything that you'd like to share with us before we close out today?
I think that we covered almost everything. We really did. I will say from the company side of things, there's more products I want to build, right? I think that CRM sucks. I think that help desks in general suck also. So our vision for the future is also building those as well.
Okay. Thanks for leaving us with a good one. Thank you so much for being here today. And it's been a real pleasure getting to know you.
Likewise, Amber.
Okay, I'm so glad you stuck with me. I told you that was going to be a great interview with Zeb. We not only covered things about project management and being a CEO, but really like what is his day to day? Like I got to do an entrepreneurial case study on Zeb, CEO of ClickUp, which was really, really fun and unexpected because that's not just what our topic was supposed to be about. So I hope you found that to be a real treat. Hey, so here's the thing is I was literally on, we stopped hitting record, we're chit-chatting, he's telling me, obviously he said that they moved to San Diego. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in San Diego next week. And so he invited me to come meet his team and visit with them. And I did. And I had to keep it under wraps. But if you want to see some behind the scenes and pictures of me with their team and their new offices, go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Amber_De La Garza. And I'll be sharing them in my stories and on my Instagram feed just to share a little bit more about like who are the people and the brand behind ClickUp. Because for me, that matters. It matters who I do business with. And I've got to tell you, while I was running 2.0, I have to be really honest, like there was bugs and glitches and I was panicking like, oh no, I don't want my listeners to experience that. And here's the deal. That is inevitably going to happen because when I took a seat back and I looked at all the programs I use across the board in my business, they all have glitches and things, but guess what? They're learning from that. And here's why I'm excited that that's happening at ClickUp. They are growing so exponentially because they have such a big vision for what they are going to do for us business owners and in the productivity space with regards to project management. And so they are rapidly growing. They're growing their team and they're growing their program and they're growing into the vision that Zeb had shared with us. And so if that lights you up and you're excited about having a program that can actually grow with you, then I encourage you to check it out because some of the things in there are already blowing away any other project management program I have personally used. All right. Well, here's the deal. I am recording the outro with you guys and I still don't have that promo code. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to adapt and overcome and we're not going to miss our deadline. So what I want you to do is head on over to theproductivityspecialist.com/ClickUp. Surprise, surprise, as the time of this recording, it doesn't really exist, but my team and I will get all the details with the promo codes and the link. And as full disclosure, of course, there's an affiliate link. I may get a small percentage if you should choose to purchase ClickUp or subscribe to ClickUp after the trial, okay? But I will have the link there with the promo code for some really good discounts that they have been so gracious to offer my listeners of Productivity Straight Talk. So head on over to theproductivityspecialist.com/ClickUp. All right, just a final reminder, if you haven't already done so or you said, oh, I will do it at the end of the episode, head on over to theproductivityspecialist.com/Time Made Simple and join us in this pop-up 4-week Time Management Made Simple training. You can get all the deets over there at Time Made Simple. Okay, I would love to close this out with a big, huge thank you. Thank you to my listeners for sharing Productivity Straight Talk. Thank you for sharing the gift of improved productivity. Because as you know, as a longtime listener, productivity is not just how we show up in our business. It's how we show up in our relationships and with the people we care about and for ourselves and our businesses. And so by sharing Productivity Straight Talk, you're sharing that gift with them. So if you know of another business owner who is struggling with time management and productivity and growth in their business, go ahead and share your favorite episode with them. I have a special thanks going out to a very special listener, NV Acela, who recently said it is refreshing to hear her breakdown of what she thinks improves productivity. Not just a quick fix, but a mindset shift for long-term results. I can't wait to keep learning from her. thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time to share your thoughts and review over on iTunes. You can too. If you want to be called out on the podcast and you want me to read your review, go ahead and head on over to iTunes and rate and review this podcast. So that's my straight talk for you today. And until next time, have a productive week.